Hello, everyone. I just frankly wanted to dispense my input and my notion on this subject, something that I have come to terms with and have conclusively recognized, particularly within the last couple days. So, I don't know what day you'll be seeing this video because YouTube is very stubborn sometimes and resolute on their policies and their appropriations, things that they believe is necessary with their algorithm. So I don't know when you'll be seeing this video because YouTube's very strict on that. They want me to upload consistently in order for people to be able to see this video, which I don't understand. But I wanted to make a note that America was significantly better economically, and economically alone, and fiscally in the 1950s. And I think that, like, I've done research about this in the last couple days, I believe that we should, retreat to the policies of the 1950s. The for people and nonprofit organizations that overhauled and ruled across that decade. Which has resulted in explosive economic growth. We've been one of the most economically stable and ambitious and prosperous in our nation's history in the 1950s era. Now, of course, socially, obviously, with social policies, I think we were much worse off in the 50s. I think you might know that, segregation, and people did not have the same ability. Women had to have their husband's signature on there to get a credit card, to get a loan, to buy a house, and we weren't guaranteed these unalienable rights that we see that every person is created equally at birth, is immediately acquires unalienable rights, and has an equal shot as everybody else at pursuing the American dream. That is not the case anymore. Right now, socially, again, we weren't as good as we are now socially, and I appreciate our progress on that, but we are certainly backtracking when it comes to fiscal policies and things when it comes to economics. Income inequality has spiraled out of control. The rich have gotten significantly, immensely richer, while everybody else has become poorer, has become weaker, has become prone to the most devastating, deleterious effects of everything. If a person in the middle class or lower class goes and buys something or is affected by tariffs or price increases from this big, beautiful bill to help fund literal tax giveaways for the rich, that's going to be more vulnerable for them. It's going to take a bigger portion of their income and be more seismic for them. And it's going to be more amorphous and harder to escape for those individuals than it is somebody who's rich. But clearly, we do not have leaders who are fulfilling the best interest of our country. That is blatantly, flagrantly clear. That is so translucently obvious and authentic, because we're seeing massive cuts, rollbacks, and eliminations, diffusions, or dissoltions of programs, like, Medicaid. People who rely on Medicaid, I get that people are abusing, some people may abuse the system, but not everybody's abusing the system. So what you're going to do in response, cut it by $1 trillion to give $1 trillion to the rich? Is that, like, it just, none of this makes any sense. None of it correlates with anything, because that's precisely what they're doing. They're slashing programs. This big beautiful bill, it's an ugly bill, is expected to result in 17 million Americans losing their health care. 17 million Americans are losing their health care. This comes as, like, what is it? I think it's like 40% of Americans, or no, it's actually 30% of Americans. I remember the statistic firsthand. 30% of Americans are either already, as is, underinsured or non-insured, like not insured whatsoever or underinsured, meaning that they don't have enough money. It's not feasible for them to pay back the tremendous debt they have. They're forced to do. I mean, people need to, like, oh, I'm going to put this on my credit card, because they literally do not have enough money to just abstain from that. They need to do some of this stuff, and it just keeps adding up, and then you owe that back. You owe interest on that. It's just like, it's a whole thing. It's like a whole bundle of rubbish. It's like, but anyways, it's income inequality has spiraled out of proportion. And when we had in the 1950s, again, the most prosperous decade in American history, the rich were taxed at a 90% income tax bracket rate, 90%. And now it's all the way down to, I believe it's 37%, I believe, now all the way down to 37%. It went from 90%, the highest, richest tax bracket, all the way down to 37%. Now, you tell me, why in the hell should, and we've already established trickle-down economics does not work. We've already established that. It's further perpetuated the massive swelling of the gap between the rich and the poor. Now, I would hope this would result in you asking yourself, why would the rich need to go from 90% being taxed to 37%? These are well-connected people who have wealth, who have attained a sense of mind, a sense of peace, a sense of serenity, and a sense of contentment, because they have wealth. They know, oh, they don't have to worry and fret about, how am I going to pay the bills next month, or how am I going to keep the lights on in my house next month, or how am I going to fix the dishwasher? My dishwasher's been broken for a year or 2 years, and we don't have enough money because of this dreadful economy that is skewed to the rich, with energy bills that are skyrocketing. It's just, the rich do not have to constantly dread over these, probabilities, because they're well set. And the fact that we should be giving them tax cuts is absolutely ludicrous and preposterous. We've been doing this since the 80s. Sure, there was short-term economic growth when Ronald Reagan started the whole trickle-down economics thing, short-term economic growth, but then it's resulted in astronomical, amorphous income inequality, where people who are well set, who had, a lot of influence, are diminished now. But that's not it. There's nonprofit organizations have, for the most part, not all, they're not completely eradicated, but or decimated, but for the most part, nonprofit organizations have been completely replaced by for-profit organizations that already have an agenda, that are not, and that means specifically that they are not for the people that they serve. It's for wealth. It's to attain wealth. And it says in the Bible, I'm a Christian, and I respect if you're not. That's a thing that a lot of people in my faith seem to not to do. But I'm a Christian, and I believe what it's proclaimed and professed in the Bible, that money, wealth, is the root of all evil. And it will always be. We're seeing that right now. Wealth makes people turn on each other. Wealth makes people sacrifice people, their loved ones, just to attain more wealth. It is. In every sense, money is the root of all evil. I think any non-Christian can agree with that segment. And this further proves that. We've seen administrations, predominantly Republican administrations, who have constantly done everything they can to help corporate America while hurting the middle class, while hurting working America. And this leads me to my next point. Workers have less bargaining power than they did in the 1950s. They were right there, had intimate influence, and were able to have a perspective and initiate a say in what happens in their workplace directly to the CEO. It was like a whole commodity where people could be together in harmony and in unison and work things out together. Now that's not the case. It's up to the CEOs, and people do not have bargaining power like they were guaranteed in the 1950s, because that power has been so concentrated towards the top, and has dwindled away from everybody else, in the bottom, in the middle, in between, everywhere. It's literally the rich versus everyone else. It's not Democrat versus Republican. That's not what this is about. It's the rich CEOs who are greedy, who want all things to themselves, who want to hurdle propaganda saying, oh, well, it'll hurt our economy if I don't get tax cuts. Well, that's not true, because we've done it before and we've been thriving. We were thriving. So it's just completely refuted right there, right off the bat, because in the 50s we have, like I said, we had economic stability and an economy that works for all, where the American dream was actually attainable. It was not elusive like it is now. It is elusive to and unattainable to strive and vie and conquer the American dream in this country. It's so sad to say. It's so detrimental to say. And I'm not saying all hope is completely evaporated. No, I'm not saying that, because there is some, but it's about luck. It's about everything. It involves and portrays luck. Everybody else might not have as much luck as Bill Gates had or Mark Zuckerberg had. And I know they take all these stories, but a lot of people, there's so many people out there who are hardworking, who are talented, who are qualified, who are commendable, and they are completely disregarded with our system that is rigged for the ultra wealthy, for the rich. They're prone to having it more accessible to them, and then they hide behind these facades and these propaganda talking points, saying, "Oh well, if we tax the rich, then it'll hurt our economy. It'll crash our economy." When, again, that is not true, and history can substantiate that as well. Also, again, taxes have significantly decreased for the ultra wealthy and well-connected, while surging for everybody else. Taxes have absolutely skyrocketed. And I believe the ratio from a CEO's pay to the worker's pay in the 1950s, I believe it was a ratio of 20 to 1. 20 being the CEO, 1 being the worker that works and keeps the company of the CEO literally alive. That number has ballooned all the way up to, I believe, 500 to 1. The ratio of 500 to 1. 500 being the CEO, 1 being the worker who actually does the work in order for the CEO to collect its immeasurable profits. That's wrong. That's so cynical. That's so callous. That is barbaric. It's just wrong. Large mega corporations get huge tax cuts and tax deductions and less government regulation, while small businesses they suffer. I mean, if you're trying to commence a small business and ignite and do what you can to embark on a potential future living in a company, in a career, you get like a $5,000 tax deduction. $5,000. Nobody in America can start a small business with $5,000. Give me a break. And it's just constant, harmful and perilous, and destructive policies being aimed towards the middle class. And we're seeing that largely due to Republicans. We'll see. I believe it was Dwight D. Eisenhower. I love him. He's a good Republican president, by the way. I also like Teddy Roosevelt. Those were real Republicans. Dwight Eisenhower actually raised the top tax bracket, and it was at 90%. I believe JFK slightly lowered it because that might be a little excessive, 90%, with the whole checks and balances thing. And then after that, I believe, what was it, after Kennedy, it was Johnson. I believe he kept it the same. Nixon, I believe, kept it the same. Gerald Ford, I'm not sure. And the problem really started under Ronald Reagan. It's like incomprehensible. It went from about like 80-some% down to like 30-some%, and it's never reversed since then. It's been a whole bunch of progress just contaminated over the course throughout the 50s and the new age, the new decade of the 1900s, the age that was potentially forecasting and insinuating long-term peace and prosperity. But clearly that was not the case. Clearly, it was just for a matter of time for things to take a downfall and go downhill once again. But this is what it is. And also, on top of all of this, here's another thing. Wages aren't consistent with the cost of living. The minimum wage is still $7 an hour. This was the same it's been in 2009. And meanwhile, prices of everything have quadrupled, have went up astronomically, acutely have went up. Healthcare cost, taxes, necessities, basic commodities that you need to survive have went up. But again, the wages, people's wages have remained stagnant, while elitist CEOs and corporate executives line their own pockets and get direct, with our healthcare system. You know why we pay all these premiums, deductibles, co-pays, and out-of-pocket costs for just basic things that we need to survive, and like insulin and healthcare and things like if we go to the doctor, we'll end up driving ourselves in debt for decades. You know why that is? So those can go to direct overhead fees that go literally directly to CEOs. They embezzle that money while getting you as a customer, because they know that you'll keep coming back and you'll keep driving yourself more into debt while lining the pockets of themselves. And it's very smart. It's very, very smart. But it's also maniacal, it's devious, it's menacing, and it's immoral. It's immoral. That's what this is. And again, it's not left versus right. It's not Democrat versus Republican. It's common sense and common knowledge in everybody in our country versus the top, the corporate elites, people who run everything, with the deep state. Everybody's talking about that, and it's the truth. I mean, that's really but it's the same thing with the Epstein files, that Donald Trump is refusing to release the Epstein files because he knows it will incriminate himself and expose himself for being on Jeffrey Epstein's, being very, very close with him, being very closely tied with him. They said they wouldn't exist. Republicans literally just blocked it. Every single Republican, without the exception of one, literally just voted to inhibit and block the releasing and the exposure, the publication of the Epstein files. And this is a nonpartisan, impartial issue that everybody on all sides, all across the political aisle, wants to see these files released. Regardless if it's Democrats who are on those files, regardless if it's Republicans that's on those files. I don't care who's on the files. I think they should be exposed for their wrong, misdeeds to humanity and to young individuals. That is just so wrong. That is just so wrong. But this is what we're seeing in this country. We need a progressive leader in our country. I supported Kamala, so if you want to debate me with that, just go look at my old videos. She's been right about everything that's happened so far about this country, about how Donald Trump is going after political opponents. He literally threatened to revoke the citizenship of Rosie O'Donnell the other day. I mean, this is truly unhinged, diabolical stuff that is happening every single day. You can't get a break from it. But fortunately, I'm going to do my best to try and take a break today after this video, of course. This video hopefully will premiere or upload sometime in the future, the next couple weeks, because I'm very proud of this video. I think I very orchestrated and organized it very appropriately. But take a look into it. And this is something that I've been saying. Please listen to me when I say this. Don't take my word for anything. Anything I post on this channel, don't take my word for it. Understand and be adaptive and be receptive to what I'm saying and take it under consideration, but don't believe it right away. Do your research. Conduct it for yourself. Take 5 minutes of your day to say, is what this random kid on the internet, is what he's saying is true? And you will find that it is. You will find that it is. ChatGPT is a good one. I recommend that. That retails and pulls sources all throughout every source. It takes sources and pulls them and distributes them and takes them and it garners them together and stacks them and then expresses it in the most impartial way that it can do it. It pulls from every source and takes and informs its expression to you based on all of that. So I recommend ChatGPT if you're looking into things and you want to authenticate the truth and see, hey, is this, and this goes for anything, not just for me. But again, don't take my word for it. Please don't take my word for it. Look it up yourself. Look it up yourself. Inform yourself, educate yourself, and do what you need to do to stay alert, to stay vigilant, to stay awake to what is happening and what the true enemy of this country is, and it is the people in power, the elites. And I'm not saying Democrats are innocent. I'm not saying Democrats are innocent. I'm a Democrat. I'm not saying they're innocent. I will say one more thing at the follow-up. I believe wholeheartedly that we need AOC to be our Democratic nominee in 2028. And before you laugh and hysterical and, don't listen, completely ignore what I have to say because, immediately there's a button. He said that, so I have to disregard everything he says after that. No, you don't have to do that. And that's what's wrong with our country right now. I believe AOC is the best one, the most well-positioned by far to take the gavel and transform our Democratic Party back into the party of pro-working class, pro-middle class, pro-uplifting poor people, to have them be able to attain the same ability to create a business, to create success, to create long-term growth and long-term sustainability and stability for their family and pass that on throughout their dynasty and their generation. I believe AOC is the leader who can do that and who will do that if we give her the chance and give her the benefit of the doubt. She hasn't announced anything, and I don't even know if she's planning to run. I'm speculating that she is thinking about it, is contemplating it. But we need truly the most progressive reversal in our country after these 4 years, after these damaging 4 years are going to be up. I am saying this straight through my heart, straight through my identity. I am saying that we need the most progressive anti-establishment, anti-corporation, anti-super PACs, special interest, and pro-working candidate on our side to lead our party in 2028. And I believe that will be AOC. She disperses what's on her mind. She understands that she's a real person. She has emotions, and she should be able to express them and not hide them like most politicians do, to save their ass, to save their money, to save their wealth, and to save their reputation from being hurt, so they can continue to delude and to continue to misguide and mislead and misrepresent the American people. AOC's not like that. I am telling you this. She is not like that. She believes that common sense should prevail, that if you make more, you should contribute a little more to our society. That is not too much to ask. There are 81 billionaires in this world, 81 billionaires across the globe that hold more wealth, that have accumulated more wealth than half of the world's population. That is unfair beyond interpretation. 81 people combined hold more wealth than half of the world's population, which is 4 billion people. There's 8 billion people in the world. 4 billion people combined as a total, united and consolidated, have less wealth than 81 people, 81 individuals in this world. Please keep that in mind. Please keep this in mind. Do your research. Again, shut off the mainstream media, left and right. Shut off Fox News. Fox News is the most don't even get me started on Fox News. It is the most corrupt organization ever. Turn off CNN, turn off all of it, all sides, and look it up yourself. Look it up yourself. Substantiate it, the evidence for yourself. Look it up on your computer. Look it up on ChatGPT. Do it anything you can. Say, and if I make a claim, I want you if you have the audacity to and are willing to, the willingness to do this, I encourage you, if I make a claim, I encourage you to fact check me and look it up. And if it's not the case, go ahead and comment. Say, hey, you made a mistake by saying that this was the case when it's not. And what I'm saying now, I know for a fact is, because I literally have it up here right now, I have the sources, and I've done that, and I've taken them sources, and then I have tried to do research that substantiates and backs those sources. So it's like, it keeps on going. It's like a through line. So I look at one source, and then I authenticate and try to validate that source to see if that source is true. In some cases it is, in some cases it isn't. And that's why I am conveying and expressing this in the manner that I am right now. I believe we need more people like AOC and government. These people are supposed to be for the people. And they know that. They're devious. They really have a really, really immoral and unethical mindset, because they know how to play the people. They know how to dupe the people. They've done it. They've duped half of the country into voting for them. And as a result, Americans are paying the price. If you make under, I believe it's $500,000 a year, you will be paying more in taxes under Donald Trump's big ugly bill, big reprehensible bill, and big putrid bill. And if you are within the top 5%, you will be seeing tax decreases. You will only be benefiting if you are ultra wealthy. If you are already wealthy, you'll be benefiting. If you're not, then you're left to flounder on your own, according to this administration. But there is still time to change. I believe it's important to see the small, very small, and very hard to detect pockets of light in this big, gaping, boundless oblivion of darkness. It's important to look at these little glimpses and little pockets and exposures of light in the middle of a very dull and heart-wrenching and pessimistic time, a very downcast and despairing time in American history. It's very important to see those very small, shining bright pockets of light in the darkness, in the sky full of impenetrable darkness. And it's so dim, it's so dull, but there is hope deep down. There's more things that are worse, that are more grueling, that are more worrying and fretful and anxiety-inducing, but there's significantly less things that are good in this world. But there still is those things that are good in this world. And it's very, very important for your health and for mine to look at those things specifically and to reassure ourselves that those things do exist, that there are good people out there, that there are good things that happen every single day. They may not make headlines, and they're certainly droughted out and overshadowed by the horrible things that happen in this country. For right reason, because there's more horrible things than there is those good things. But again, I'll say this 1,000 times, there still is those good things. There still is those little spirits of hope that still remain lingering within our universe. So keep that in mind. See you guys. Inform yourself and support AOC for 2028. I'm telling you right now, you can either take my word for it or you don't have to. She is our best bet in 2028. Hands down.